We want to welcome back to the program Erin Collins. She is the IRS taxpayer advocate. And Ms. Collins, thanks as always for giving us your time.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Can you remind people what the job of the IRS taxpayer advocate is?
Sure. So the position that I have, the National Taxpayer Advocate, and the office that I lead, the Taxpayer Advocate Service, were created by Congress about 20 years ago to help taxpayers. So basically, our mission is to assist individual taxpayers. And when I say individual, that could be individuals, could be companies, businesses, as well as, on a one-on-one basis. So if they're having a problem with the IRS, we're here to help them with those challenges with the IRS. We also have the ability to make recommendations to the IRS to resolve challenges on a systemic, so across the board for all taxpayers. And we also have the ability to make legislative recommendations to Congress. So in essence, we represent or assist taxpayers, but we also get to work with Treasury, work with the IRS, and work with the Hill.
You also, as part of your job, have to make a yearly report to Congress. In your most recent report, one of the things you highlighted as a most serious problem for the IRS was excessive processing and refund delays for taxpayers. Talk about those problems, particularly as people start filing this year.
Yeah, so we identified that as the number one challenge that taxpayers and tax professionals faced last year. I do have concerns as to the impact and the carryover of the challenges from last year going into the start of the filing season for this year. So we have some real concerns. Taxpayers, there were a tremendous amount of individuals who either received their refunds late or are still waiting. We have folks that have still, I'd say at least 10 months or longer, are still waiting for their refunds on their 1040s or business returns that they filed.
Is this a manpower problem or are there other factors?
Yeah, there were lots of challenges the IRS had last year. We do not have enough employees that are working on the campuses that do the processing of the returns. So that has been a challenge. We're having a challenge actually hiring. We are restricted by the location of the three campuses, which are Austin, Ogden, and Kansas City. So if anyone's looking for a job, IRS is hiring. But we don't have enough staff in those locations that handle the paper returns. So that's a challenge. And then last year, as you know, the IRS had to implement the third round of the stimulus payments. And then also we did the monthly child tax payments. And then on top of that, we had the change of the unemployment compensation, which was a great benefit for taxpayers because Congress reduced the taxability of unemployment income for the first $10,200, which was very helpful for taxpayers. The challenge was it came in after March 11th. And so that was right in the middle of when taxpayers were filing. So the IRS had to go back to all those prior returns and recalculate those returns while still trying to process the new ones coming in, doing the stimulus payments, and then doing the monthly payments. So it was a heavy lift for the IRS last year.
Your report has some statistics about backlog, 6.2 million unprocessed 1040 returns, about 2.8 million unprocessed business returns, 2.4 million unprocessed amended individual returns, and then 5 million pieces of general taxpayer correspondence. What would it take to make, or at least go through that paperwork or that paper load?
Yeah, the challenge is the paper tax return. So anyone who's watching, please file electronically this year. Paper is not the IRS's friend. I had been saying that it's the IRS's kryptonite, and there's piles of it, and they're struggling to get through it. So that is a challenge. But yeah, the numbers have changed a bit, but not drastically from the numbers that you just indicated. So it really is getting through that paper return. And also IRS works in, first out. So they're going to finish processing the 2020 paper returns before they process the 2021 paper returns. Electronic will go straight through. And that's the reason that we're pushing individuals to file electronically, because it will go through much quicker than a paper return that has to wait until the 2020 returns are processed.
As far as a long-term strategy, you've talked about people, I guess you're talking about equipment as well. What would it take to make this more efficient process, aside from the idea of getting rid of paper altogether?
Yeah, again, electronic IRS has a good system. They have IT that does a lot of the reviews automatically, so we don't need employees or humans to do it. Where paper, it's different. So we need to increase the amount of employees that are working on those 2020 returns. And the commissioner recently announced that we're going to have, we call it an inventory surge. We're going to reallocate, starting with 1,200 employees to start working on that. I think we're probably going to need additional assistance. And then we really need to get in the 21st century. The IRS should not be manually processing these returns. We really need to set up the system so that we leverage our IT capabilities.
This is